welcome, 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 welcome to I'm Right, I'm Right. And the show will start in approximately 4 minutes and 30 seconds. And hopefully this time we won't have technical difficulties. I hope I didn't just put a jinx on it. But 2 shows ago, our show just turned off and we couldn't turn it back on. It was outdone, finished. And then last Wednesday, we had a previous engagement that we did have to attend, so we were there. So here we are again, and things are different. This is a hectic show. I just got off of work like a few minutes ago, so I'm really pushing the limits with this. So let's get into what we do. So if you are watching this show live, welcome. But if you're watching it or listening to it in replay, you can fast forward past this portion and get right in the show. As most of you know, you can watch the show from Facebook or YouTube or even Jill's website, which is jillcoxcordova.com. Now, also, Facebook is doing some things where they're deleting everyone's content after 30 days. So once you do a show and it's been there for 30 days, they get rid of it. But we are moving everything over to Jill's website, so you'll be able to watch shows there also. And remember, you can always watch this show at jillcoxcordova.com and click the podcast tab. And that is really the way we would love for you to watch, because then you don't have to go through Facebook or YouTube. You can deal directly with us. Yeah! And we're working on some things to where you can send comments if you're watching through the website. So, that would be cool. Now, also, we love it when you participate. So be sure to make comments. Write some comments. Let's hear what's going on with everybody. And that would be cool. Because you make the show better. I would like to say Jill and I are the be-all, the end-all. However, we may not be. So we do need some of the audience to just help us out. Now, also, if you're on YouTube and Facebook, and there's a link there, if you click the link, it will bring you into the show. You click that link, you'll see some prompts on whether you want to be on video or not, and you will be on the show and we'll bring you to the stage. Now, don't worry, if you click that, the audience isn't going to just see you immediately. We will see you in the green room.
You're okay,
but the audience... Did you hear that? That's technical difficulties.
It's not technical difficulties.
Jill, this isn't when you
I'm
speak.
just talking.
Anyway, we've got about another 50 seconds and the show will begin. And I hope, and I've got my fingers crossed, and I'm doing a hope and a prayer that we have no technical difficulties tonight. So we've got about another 30 seconds and we'll be right here with you. So please stand by. Jill. We're out of sync.
You know why we're out of sync? Well, first of all, hello everyone.
Hi,
Welcome. This is I'm Right.
I'm right.
And I'm Jill Cox Cordova.
I'm Anthony Cordova.
And we're out of sync.
Are we? Are we really? Are we really?
Well,
out
not
of sync?
usually. A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, perhaps.
But we haven't seen you all for 2 weeks. It feels like 2 months.
2 weeks.
So if
Been missing in
you
action.
were here 2 weeks ago, you know that we were here, and then we weren't.
Yeah, we had like 3 minutes worth of show, and then poof, we were
It was gone, and we couldn't figure out how to come back.
We were gone. Well, actually,
You did figure it out. Well,
actually, it was a technical issue that we could not alleviate. We knew what happened,
okay.
but
we
we
couldn't-
could not alleviate the
Yes.
situation.
Yes. And then last week, we got to attend a gala
Yes, we were at the gala.
because we're part of the literary community.
Jill is.
We are. We're both writers. I know we talked that I'm a writer, but in case you didn't know, Tony's a writer too. We're both writers.
Okay.
So anyway, we were at a gala, and I was very excited to be in the room when Deneen Milner won the Townsend Prize for fiction, which is Georgia's best literary fiction work of the last
Yes.
2 years
Like, bravo.
of last year, actually. And her book is called One Blood, and it's excellent. So I was very excited to be in the room when she won that award.
Yeah, check it out.
Check it out.
Check it
That is
out.
my book recommendation for the week.
Alrighty then.
Catch me next week. I'll probably have another one. But anyway, hey,
Hey, what's up?
what's up?
What's up?
What's up?
What's up?
What is up?
What's our episode tonight? How long are we going to say that? What are we doing tonight?
Well,
what is our
tonight
episode about?
we are talking about. Oh, well, before I get to the topic, Stacy's here.
Stacy.
Hi,
Stacy.
Stacy.
We love you,
Hi.
Stacy. Thank you so much for coming. Because,
Yes,
you
for
know,
being here.
We were missing in action for 2
Yeah,
weeks.
so we didn't know if anybody would come back. so thank you.
Well, we weren't really missing the first time. We were here.
Yes.
then we weren't
And then
here.
we weren't. And then last week we didn't plan a show
Yeah,
at,
because
at
we
all.
were
because at the gala.
Gala.
Yes.
Gala.
Yes.
What's the difference between a gala
And a gala.
and a gala?
You told me.
What did I tell you? It sounds
well,
better
first of
coming
all,
from you.
No, first of all, everyone, Tony told me. I know everybody thinks I'm the bougie one, but he told me the difference. So tell them what you told me.
The difference. Well, there is no difference. The
Same
thing
type of
is-
event.
Yes, it's the same type of event. The spelling is the same. Okay. But the rich people say gala. And the regular people say gala.
Yes.
That's about it. That's what I've learned.
But that night, they called it
a gala.
a gala.
See?
You know, just like the Met, it's the Met Gala, you know. So, anyway,
Yes.
there you go.
Yeah. But no,
Lessons by Anthony.
well, anyway, I'm really happy you're here, Stacy. Thanks for coming. And you know, Stacy, I remember when we used to be on that other platform and you started coming to our show, and it took a while before we got you to speak. And you would come, but I was always trying to get you to speak.
Well, she's speaking on
people-
paper.
Yeah,
Some of us
we're
prefer to
going
speak
to-
on paper.
Well, yeah, but maybe we'll get to see Stacy again.
Maybe.
Because we have seen Stacy on occasion.
Yes,
It
yes,
was
we
very
have.
nice.
Yes,
Very nice.
yes,
Very
absolutely.
nice. Okay, cool.
And she said, "So true."
Yeah, because I'm curious of what you're doing now. I remember you were doing one thing, then you weren't. as far as work goes, you were doing one thing, then not, and then you were doing something else, and now I don't know what you're doing. So I hope all is going well.
We both do.
Yeah. Okay. Now we got to get to our episode.
Okay,
What is
so
our
tonight's episode, we're posing the question, how hard is it to say no? It's part of a segment that we call
Stand by your stance.
Stand by your
before I
stance.
ask you, sweetheart, what your answer is to that question, I want to tell the audience about a poll I found about people.
You have a poll.
Well, that's me.
Okay.
And I haven't done one in a while.
All right.
Okay, so this is a survey that was done 2 years ago by the Thriving Center of Psychology.
Thriving Center of Psychology. What is that?
It's
It's a thriving center.
Center of Psychology. So they asked the people they surveyed, they asked all Americans, do you have trouble saying no to others? And 58, so more than half, % of them said yes. And out of those 58%, most were women, 65%. And they said their top reason for saying no, is that they either felt they obligated to or guilty if they didn't. And they have the hardest time, and these are from all the people, the whole 58%, not just the women. They have the hardest time saying no, not to a boss, not to a partner, but to a friend.
Why is that? Did they say why?
No. But can you guess, sweetheart, which generation? Because you're baby boomer.
Yeah.
I'm Gen X. And then, there's down to Gen Z as far as adults. Which generation do you think has
Gen
the hard?
Z.
Yes, it
See,
turns
that was
out.
quick.
It turns out.
I don't know if you all can hear that, but that's our grandson starting up his car.
Yes, we always know when he's leaving and coming.
He never wants to be on the show, but his car has made it to the show. How about that?
And yes, John, we are back.
John, we are back. And right now, we're not having, knock on wood, no technical
Don't jinx us.
difficulties. Yes.
Don't jinx us.
So,
Yes. So it turns out that the younger, according to this survey, the younger someone is, the harder it is to say no. Whereas, us older people, we don't care. We'll say no. We'll say no.
Yeah, us boomers, we don't have a problem saying no.
Nor do us Gen X.
Well, here's a funny thing.
Tell me something
Well,
funny.
Well, today, as you all know, or if you don't know, I have a job I go to every day, and
That you like.
and this day I was late leaving my job, very late. I was so late that Jill called me and said we should cancel the show. And what did I say?
No.
No. See, I had no problem saying no.
He said no.
There was no, I don't know. No, it was just no. No. I can make it. I'll be there. We should cancel. No. An example, just this evening, of me saying no. And I did get home 35 minutes before airtime.
35 minutes. And usually that's when we're like setting things up, testing things out.
Yeah,
and
usually
so
we're all
that's
set
why
up
I was saying I guess we
by
need to
then.
cancel because, he wasn't dressed for the show. He You weren't here. You weren't.
No,
it's like
the show
I just
must go
and it
on.
did. Although John said last time that when we tried to when we were here and then we weren't, he said you ran out of quarters last time.
We couldn't find any more either. We're like a pool table. Who knows about that? In some bars, when you play a game of pool, you put quarters in the pool table to make the balls come down. So you can play pool.
So anyway, back on topic. We're talking tonight about how hard is it to say no. Clearly, it's not hard for you to say no. Has that always been the case for you?
Me? Mm-hmm. Probably. I've always been pretty good at saying no, except to you, Jill.
No, actually, that's what made me take a look twice at him when I first met him, is because he was one of the first few men that I was interested in that said no to me. Yeah. I don't even remember what it was I asked. It seemed reasonable at the time. And I was like, wait, what is this word? Like, what? You're telling me no? Yeah.
I'm reading John's.
Yes. I was wondering where it was going too, John. John says, I was thinking more of the vibrating bed at the no-tell motel. Yes, I was wondering where his story was going.
Yes, and for some of...
Did not expect pool tables.
For some of our audience that does not know the reference to a vibrating bed, well...
Tony... You don't need to take us off topic. It's okay.
This is definitely
he said
topic.
it in the sentence.
Do you want to put a quarter in the bed? No. See, this is an example. So just
tell motel, just like John said. We don't have to name the motel.
I'm not naming a motel, but they had this thing, and there was a little box next to your bed, and it had like a turn on it, and you put a quarter in, and you turn it, and it'd make your bed
So I have a
vibrate.
question for you. I have a question for you. So you said you thought you had a hard time telling me no, which is absolutely not true. Yeah. So on the list, it says the types of people have a hard time saying no to, and friend was at the top, father was at the bottom, and in between in this order was mother, partner, boss.
Fathers have a hard time saying no?
No. People do not have as hard of a time saying no to a father than they do anybody else on that list.
Oh, they can say no to their parent?
To a mother. It's harder to... Let me start over.
I'm confused.
Let me start over. I had said to you earlier that people have the hardest time saying... Those who said they have a hard time saying no have the hardest time saying no to friends.
Yeah.
At the bottom of that list is father.
So
they don't have as hard of a time telling a father.
Telling a father no.
No. Yes. But mother is right under friend. What do you think of that?
I don't know.
You don't have a thought on that?
No.
Third is partner. Fourth is boss. So
why? Well, I can understand that, because people don't want to say no to their mom.
Why not to their father?
Well, I know, look, I do not want to offend anyone, but mothers are real good at laying on guilt trips. You know what I mean? Guilt trips. So if you had that type of mother that was always laying guilt trips on you, then
you don't think fathers do that?
Harder. No, mothers do it more than fathers.
I think we should get off this topic because you're generalizing. I don't think that's something you should say. I don't even think that's true.
mothers.
How many of you all think that's true?
I say mothers will lay the guilt trips before a father will lay a guilt trip.
I disagree.
That's what it.
That's what the show is, though,
Yeah,
right?
but it's okay. It's been my observation. This is not based in fact. This is not a study.
Okay.
I have just noticed that it seems that moms will lay guilt trips on their children more so than the father.
I have not observed that.
Okay.
But what do I know?
How many guilt trips have you seen me lay down on my kids?
0. In fact, you tell them, like, go live your life, be corrupt. Like that's the kind of father you are.
I don't do that. I don't do that.
Okay. All right. Oh, that I do know.
Yeah.
That I have observed.
So, yeah.
Okay. So, John has
But I do say
another
no
comment.
a lot. I think
you absolutely do.
I think no is my default setting. That's what it is. No is my default setting.
Well, John has a couple of comments. The first one, going back to the beds, Quentin Tarantino needs to put that bed into a scene and bring them back. Oh boy, what Quentin Tarantino could do with the bed like that.
It's funny how we're stuck on this vibrating bed.
And then we're back. I'm moving on. I'm moving on. He also said he disagrees with you. Fathers are just much more subtle about it. And then
John.
See, that's why I was disagreeing.
Not supposed to tell.
And then Stacy says, I never experienced my mother laying guilt trips. My dad didn't either.
Oh, so she had fabulous parents.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I'm good for saying no. And truly, my first response is
it really is. And then later you might think
I might
maybe
think about
you might
change
think
my
about it.
mind, but no is a good setting.
And then John says it's almost subliminal. You don't even realize that it's happening. Oh, that's a really good person. That's a really good guilt trip, I guess. If you could do it so subtly, they don't even know it.
Yes, that's pretty good.
So, do you think I say no easily?
I've been trying, actually.
You've been trying to get me to say no more often.
Yeah, and you've done pretty
Better.
good actually,
because I'm older. See, back to that study.
Because when we, early on in our relationship, you said yes to a lot of people for stuff you did not want to do.
Yes,
but you said yes.
Yes, because I thought, I'll help them out.
Mm-hmm.
Because usually they were people I knew, or most often it was a boss.
Yeah.
And so I knew I could do it. That's why they asked in the first place. So yeah, but now.
No.
Yeah, right.
No.
Right. I'm very curious, especially since we have a 3-year-old granddaughter. And, so it reminds me that, at 2, when they really start talking and no, little kids understand the power of no, right? Yeah. And say it quite easily. In fact, they're emphatic about it. No, right? So I'm like, I wonder at what point we lose that as adults. Like, when does it start to become hard for people to say no?
When emotions are involved, when there's emotions, when something is emotional. So, like, they said you have the hardest people have the hardest time saying no to their friends because they don't want to lose their friend. This is
And you
my
want to help
friend.
friends,
I want to help
like,
your friend.
yeah.
And yeah, it can be
Until you
hard
start to
say.
realize, well, maybe I'm always the one that's helping.
Yes,
And
one-sided relationship.
yes. Not that it's, tit for tat.
Yeah.
Not that, but because that's not what a friendship is either. But,
No.
Sometimes you recognize, wait a minute, I'm the only one that's doing anything.
This is true. This is why you should say no more often, even to friends.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that gets us to our next segment that we call
I'm trying to help you.
Advice.
I'm trying to help you. Well, I don't know. You go first.
If you have a hard time saying no, I think it should come from you first because I have a harder time. I'm much better at it now saying no. Okay, I'll go first.
Oh no, I'm getting ready to go.
Okay.
Here is some advice. So if you are a person that's having a hard time saying no, or even identifying when you should say no, because that can be an issue too. So think about it when you've told someone, yes, yeah, I'll do that for you. Yes, I'll do that. Yes, I'll go there with you. Yes, I'll do, all of these yeses. But after you say yes, do you feel good about the yes? Do you have a positive emotion connected to the yes? Or after you say yes, you're questioning, why did I say yes? I really didn't want to do that. I really didn't want to go to that place. I really didn't want to go see the scary movie, but I said yes because it was my friend. So start really thinking about it before you say yes. Think, do I really want to do this? And if the answer is no, say no. Yeah, that's my advice. That's what I got.
That's very good advice. Before I get to mine, I will put up John's comment, which is first, a child says no when they're setting their parameters. True. Later, they learn. Maybe I should read it from here. They learn to take others' feelings into account. Oh, isn't that? Oh, that's so true.
Yes, that's when you start saying yes.
Yes. Yeah.
You're taking their emotions in. Oh, you might hurt their feelings. You may, do this. But still, if you really, really don't want to do it, don't do it. And sometimes there's compromise. I mean, sometimes you can say yes when maybe your friend is like pushing your boundaries to do something you haven't done before. So sometimes saying yes when you really mean no can also turn into a good thing. So it's
yes
two-sided.
When you mean no. That's okay. My advice is, especially since I guess I'm the newer one to starting to say no in between the two of us. I take into account, like you said, whether you want to do it. And if you do want to do it, but the reason you're think that you should say no and you're having a hard time saying no, in my case, it was always because I had all these other things to do. I didn't have the time, really. I could make time, but that might mean, staying up till 3 or 4 in the morning to get it done, to get everything done that I said yes to. So my first bit of advice is to understand your own schedule. And,
Okay.
Most of us are super busy. And if you really don't have the time to do it, and there's, nothing that's going to help you out from doing it, other than just helping, of course, it's nice to help others. Of course, that's always the case. But sometimes it shouldn't be at your own detriment, where you're, staying up so late trying to get it done, or you just, it becomes more stressful for you to do it than it doesn't. So I now, in order for me to come to a no, I really take into account, what is this going to do to me? Not for me, to me, to get it done, to help this person out.
Okay.
So sometimes in the past, I've learned that lesson too late, but guess what? I then did something about it. I'm like, guess what? I'm no longer helping out in this way, in this capacity, ever again. So I've been known to quit things.
Okay.
Because they were asking me to do too much.
Okay.
All right, John has a comment. A person who has those two stages in life reversed goes through life with an anger under the surface that never quite subsides. That's deep, and that's true. That's profound, John.
Yeah, it is. That brings me to, years ago we had an episode, whether you can, if you volunteer for something, an organization or something.
Do you have a right to complain?
Yes. Do you have a right to complain? But does that mean the volunteering that you said yes to was really a no, or did things change?
Well, that's been my case. Is I volunteer often, but I volunteer to do a certain thing, and if it becomes more than that, then that's not what I signed up to do. Right? I learned that lesson.
Okay, we might need to do that episode again.
Again?
Yeah. Is it okay to complain when you volunteer?
Well, now my stance would be different than it was the first time. For sure.
Yeah.
Well, audience, you've had a lot of great comments, especially
Yes.
you, John and Stacy.
And
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, John and Stacy. And when I say our audience makes the show better, I truly, truly mean it. You all make the show better. I'm not going to cut a paycheck for your participation, but I can say thank you. Thank you so much for participating in the show.
John does have a question for us. Was that volunteering the result of arm twisting? No, I readily volunteered. It's just that what they asked me to do in the beginning was not what it was once I really did that for them. It was so much more. So,
Okay.
but now they know my boundaries. They
Okay.
definitely know my boundaries, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I guess.
You do.
I guess so.
They do. All right, we should wrap this show up.
Oh, we got to wrap the show up. My goodness. All right. Well, let's start doing that.
All right, you ready?
I am ready. Okay. After show, anyone? We need your input. Is there any shows you want us to do? Any topics? Anything odd you may want us to do? Let us know. You know how to reach us. Also, remember to come back to I'm Right every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. You can watch that on Facebook and YouTube. You can also watch it right through Jill's website, which is JillCoxCordova.com, and click the podcast tab. Hey!
Well, it's on
we're
Facebook
back.
for now, anyway. More on that later, since Facebook is now deleting live content after less than 30 days. So
Yeah.
we're working on some things.
Yeah.
So anyway.
But you will be able to see all past episodes on Jill's website.
Yep.
If that's what you want to do.
Yep. And then one last comment from John. Yes, it was bait and switch with a smile.
There you go.
It sure was. All right.
John, we got to get you on the show. I think we need
Oh,
to
that would be
get John on
fun.
the show.
John's fun.
Yes,
He's
he
a fun
is
person.
He's quick.
He is. He always has
Quick,
been.
quick.
Yes.
All right.
All right.
Cool.
Ready?
Is that it?
That's it.
We're gone.
We're
we have to
going.
say goodbye.
Yep.
All right.
Here we go.
Well, we love you all. Bye.
Bye.